Hello, welcome to NHRD Pune YouTube channel. I'm Neena Kamal here with another episode of Peoplepoint. Today we have invited Kiran Bhagnure Khapre, HR head power generation business and Kagal plant with Kirloskar Oil Engines Limited. Kiran brings with her rich HRM experience of working in matrix structure with key focus on talent retention, optimal utilization of resources, organization development, and change management. She believes that individuals make an organization and they need to be at the center of any organization. Today, she's with us, in fact, to discuss an area which is again at the center of HR support to business and, of course, employees. A good policy framework gives any organization a strong base for better employee management and improve employee experience. And today, Kiran is going to share her expertise with us about the same. So let's welcome Kiran. Kiran, thank you so much for taking out time to join a People Point platform.
Thank you, Neena. Thanks for providing this opportunity to share my views.
Fantastic. We are looking forward to it. So let's get started. So, Kiran, since COVID, things have changed tremendously. And can you give us some examples of how people policies have evolved in recent times, especially since COVID? Uh,
Sure. I think one big change which has definitely happened is the way all of us are working,
mhm.
especially work from home or hybrid work arrangement. Nobody has been, there's not an industry or a company who hasn't been touched or impacted by this. So big changes come up, irrespective of whether it's in software organization, services organization, or even for that matter, manufacturing organizations. With COVID coming in, no one thought that we would be able to conduct our businesses being outside of the workplace. So, and that's what each one of us had to do in the initial period when the wave one, wave two came in. And I think each one of us learned over a period of time that okay, this is manageable, this can be done. So while we have slowly come back to the better state in terms of COVID disappearing, or things stabilizing, uh, the work from home or the hybrid work arrangement has definitely stayed back. So a huge change as to how you manage these arrangements, and that's where all organizations have looked at their people policies, be it related to the infrastructure, from a simple IT infrastructure, or even if employees are working from home, whether we are providing them the right kind of physical ergonomic infrastructure. I think organizations have gone ahead and worked on those aspects. The time management part of it, especially the traditional way of working was swipe and swipe out, which is now wherein there's a trust-based work arrangement which has come into picture. So you need to have right kind of frameworks around this. So that's one example I could think about, or one area wherein a huge change has happened. If I have to think from employees' perspective, I think they have realized over a period of time that the importance of physical wellness and well-being,
Yes.
or mental well-being for that matter. And now when candidates or employees are looking for new opportunities or changing their jobs, one of the most important aspect they look at while approaching any organization or going through the interview processes, what kind of benefits organization is offering in these areas. And that's where organizations had to really innovate, move away only from the traditional hospitalization coverage, and start thinking about what kind of other benefits which we are offering to employees, be it around physical wellness, could be around annual health checkup, or even mental well-being for that matter, wherein you provide employee assistance, professional counseling. So all those things, I would say, has gotten enough importance in today's situation or current environment post COVID. So I think those are primarily two large areas I could think about.
Very true. And especially changing the entire perspective management had towards some of these disciplines and expectation structure in organization. That has also been a very big conversation.
True, true.
So when we are making HR policies, like employee policies, what factors do you think HR people need to consider, like organization, market, sector benchmarking, or industry specific benchmarking, geographical, factors? So, what do you think makes it important for HR people?
I think a lot of factors would come into play. When I think about it, for me, the one of the most important factor before anything else is comes into mind is workforce demographics. Who are those people in your organization for whom you are making those policies? Which generation do they belong to? What kind of employee engagement part they are looking for? What kind of development, career development, career growth part they are looking for? Depending upon whether it's a young employee is in the age range of 25, 27, or if you have employees who have been serving in the organization for 15, 20 years, the requirements would be totally different. So how do you bring in inclusive policies, or at least policies which can cater to each of these generations, gender, or for that matter, very different demographics as well? So I think that I would say is a primary factor. Organization, yes. What may work in the software or services organization may not necessarily work in a manufacturing organization. So you have to be very realistic and practical about what is it that is required basis the type of industry you are working in, type of market you're working in. I think also the customer base which you're serving, simple things like if my customer is working on a particular day of the week and has a weekly off, let's say, working on Sundays and has a weekly off on Thursday. I, as a supplier, cannot have a weekly off on Sunday. You have to also align yourself with the customer for that matter. So I think customer base is also makes a lot of difference in terms of how you're managing your, working arrangements and everything with when it comes to the policies. Geography as well. If your organization is spread across different states, territories, the laws, labor laws, compliances in every state, territory, or for that matter, if you have offices spread across different countries,
Definitely.
the laws would be very different. So, even though being one big organization, you still have to follow the law of the land, and in that case have to ensure that your policies are aligned with what is it that works in that particular country or state or territory for that matter. So yeah, each of these factors would largely drive your policies. Also, I think one of the other important factors is what is your organizational strategy? What is it that you're trying to drive? How? What is your vision, which you are trying to achieve? And that will also have a certain amount of impact on how you're figuring out the policies, because what you want to achieve 5 years down the line, today's policies may not be as relevant as next 5 years. So are you regularly reviewing those, regularly looking at those? It will also make a lot of importance and have impact on the policies.
Very true. I mean, what you said, absolutely. That's the same thing which was going on in my mind as well. Is that when we sometimes are working for multinational organizations who have headquarters out of India, and when we are trying to bring their policies to the Indian setup, and we don't realize sometimes that, okay, we think about legal compliance, but there are software element also which actually change um, culture and geography, everything. It has an impact on what will be acceptable easily. Even your holiday list for that matter will need to
Absolutely.
be reconsidered. And
Right.
in fact, my next question links to exactly this, that in that case, then how important it is to collect authentic data and create benchmarking when we are making policies? And how can we do it? I mean, how important it is, and how do you suggest we go about it?
Yeah, so policies definitely cannot continue to be rigid. Something which you have formed 10 years back, may not be relevant at all in today's times. So it is important for the HR function that you are constantly looking at your policies. Um, uh, there are a lot of consulting organizations who have been working in this area, who provide good benefits benchmarking surveys and reports. So I think participating in those surveys would definitely help you understand what is relevant for your particular industry, what kind of competitive policies, benefits other competitive companies are offering or your peer companies are offering, and you can always base your policies on that. But when it comes to authenticity or probably making sure that whether the policy is really relevant for the end user, which is employee in this case, is to really understand whatever you have in company right now, what are your employees feeling about it. So, and that could be, again, the feedback can be taken through employee engagement surveys or focus group discussions or employee one-on-ones, and really understand, from the end user that whether this is working or not. What are their suggestions? How are they feeling about different policies which the organization has? And making sure that that human aspect of, is also being brought into by HR function rather than just looking at what's being offered in the market and then comparing our policies with that is how I would look at it.
Fantastic. Even here, I feel that when probably we started our careers, the way handbooks or policy handbooks used to be, it used to be more like very like uh, jargon, technical terms, and it was not very easy for every employee to understand. And with the changing times, I think more and more efforts are being made to make these policies more, like comprehensible for everyone, isn't it?
Comprehensive, inclusive, more employee friendly, how you can really explain them in the simple language, and how you can make them accessible to employees also. Because it's important for employees to understand, okay, what is it that is being offered in the organization, what is it that they're eligible for. Most of the time, just an absence of a document could create a lot of dissatisfaction or disengagement as well. So yeah.
Very true. Fantastic. So I'm sure that you also come across these conversations where it's really policy framework required. It is curtailing freedom, and but it's good to hear that efforts are being made to make it more inclusive, more employee centric, rather than making it like some rule book. Uh, and I hope we are able to change perception about policies.
True.
Great. So, coming to the next segment of our interaction, we call it rapid musings, and these are some quick questions, and we want to get some quick answers from you. So,
Sure.
let's start. Uh, in your opinion, how frequently do you think policies need to be updated?
uh, 2 to 3 years is an ideal period, but obviously, if there are any regulatory changes, labor law changes, or even the organizational strategy changes, then the policies will need to be re-looked at before the defined review period as well.
Fine, I agree. Um, with reference to current times, according to you, what are the three most critical employee policies right now?
I would say physical and mental well-being. I
Oh,
think that focus is definitely significantly increased. So, what kind of benefits organizations can offer to their employees? So, that's one area. With the COVID, we have realized that the talent pool need not be necessarily available only in nearby areas. So talent pool has expanded. But do you have not only equal but equitable employment opportunities? So what kind of policies you have around this aspect? And with the whole hybrid work arrangement or work from home, work from office combinations, do you have a very clear-cut performance management policy as to how performances will be evaluated? So I think those are three areas which I can think of.
I like this word equitable. It's a very sensible approach, isn't it? Let's make it equitable to everybody. Absolutely. I can also think about prevention of any kind of harassment, not only sexual but other harassment and well-being. Of course, I mean mental well-being is becoming another very critical area. Great. Okay, coming to few generic questions now. What is your favorite HR knowledge source?
So I follow SHRM, Society for Human Resource Management, and AIHR. They have quite a few good articles which I keep referring to, or have some good training resources also. For leadership, I follow Center of Creative Leadership. So they keep sharing a lot of good articles. And if I have to talk about individuals, I've been following articles, conversations by Mr. Dave Ulrich and Professor Ramcharan. So those are some of my favorite, uh, you know, stalwarts, I would say.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Who's your professional guru?
Ah, okay. Cannot think of one person right now. This 15 plus years of career, which you was referring about, a lot of people, senior leaders who have really helped me grow to this level. So I prefer to be like an Eklavya who takes knowledge and learnings from wherever it is available. So that's
That
my funda.
sounds good. Sounds good. All right. And the final question, uh, what is your people mantra?
Um, when I my people mantra is talent is at the core of everything. So more we invest in people talent, I think the better returns we will get as an organization. So that's what we should keep on doing.
Fantastic. Sounds perfect. Excellent. So thank you so much for such a informative session. Any parting words?
No, thanks again for giving me this opportunity. In fact, HR policy making has been one of my areas of passion, because I think that's the foundation for any HR function to drive, the change or the transformation you want to do in the whichever organization you are part of. So if you have your base set up in the right manner, um, things ahead are very easy to drive with. So thanks once again to you and the whole People Point series for giving this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for taking out time. And for our audience, I personally believe that documentation and policies are two areas which are so critical for HR leaders, but they are losing their glamour in today's so-called woke world. So it's time to bring back this conversation. And thank you, Kiran, for being a partner here to make it happen. So thank you so much for watching our episode. Please keep watching People Point, keep sharing it, and give us suggestions to make it better. Thank you so much.